Mr. Mylett, I'm 20 years old, you're 53 years old, and I know you've made hundreds of millions of dollars. What advice would you give to your 20-year-old self? I would give you all of my hundreds of millions of dollars and all of my houses if I could go back and be 20 years old again. That's the first thing you should know. You're only as young and as healthy as you're ever going to be right now. This is the best time of your life. And so if I could go back, I would change that. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I mean, accept them. And the courage to change the things I can. And some form of wisdom to know the difference. You're only as young as you're ever going to be right now in this moment. Enjoy your life. Kick some butt in your life. Help a bunch of people in your life. Live with the emotions you want in your life so that when you get to the end of your life, you maxed it out and you're proud of you. Before I get into the show, I just want to say one thing to you. You know that all of my content is free. I put out hundreds and hundreds, it's now thousands of hours of content for free. But every once in a while, I do something where you can participate with me one-on-one or in a group. And so I've only done this one other time in my entire career, and it sold out in about 10 minutes. But this year, if you're watching this before 2025, I'm recording this in 2024, on December 12th, I'm doing an event, a group event in my home, very intimate event, less than 30 people to spend a day with me. You can go to maxout2025.com to get the information. It's not cheap, but it's a day with me. I'm going to take you through my entire 12-step system I've used for the last decade to plan my life and my year. So if you want to make 2025 the best year of your life, you can come to me and you can be in my home with me with a very small group of people for an entire day, but take you through that entire system. I'm also going to go through all the mental programming techniques that I usually only teach my one-on-one clients. So very limited seating. It may even be sold out by the time you see this video or hear this audio, but it's December 12th, 2024 in my home, maxout2025.com. Welcome back to the show, everybody. So grateful that you've joined me this week. And I think this one's going to be one you remember for a very long time. I hope actually forever. I want to share a conversation I had or a question I was asked recently at an event. And then I just decided when I was answering that question, I'm going to build a podcast around this question. I was at a conference, I was speaking, and a young man, it was a VIP room, so it was just the players, and he got in there with his mom. I think his mom paid his way into the room, and everyone got to ask me a question. And when it got to this young man, he said, Mr. Mylett, I'm 20 years old, you're 53 years old, and I know you've made hundreds of millions of dollars. What advice would you give to your 20-year-old self? Or what thoughts do you have about being 20 years old? And I said, what a great question. And I said, here's the first thing. The first thing is this. I would give you all of my hundreds of millions of dollars and all of my houses if I could go back and be 20 years old again. That's the first thing you should know. You're only as young and as healthy as you're ever going to be right now. This is the best time of your life. And the room gasped. I said, let me be very clear. I would give you all of my money, all of my homes, if I could go back and be 20 years old again and be young again. And I said, so why I tell you that is you're as young and as healthy as you are now in your life. And that goes for all of you at any age. 10 years from now, can you imagine being able to go back and be 30? Now, knowing what I know, I think I could rebuild that wealth and get it back and more. But I would do many things differently if I could go back, young man. Everybody listening to me, this is the best time of your life. I don't care if you're in a low financially. This is the best time of your life. You're never going to be this young ever again, ever. And I said, so I'd give it all to you if I could go back and be 20 years old again, knowing what I know now. Life is awesome. Life is meant to be lived. And I said, let me give you some of the things, and I want to share with you just sort of some wisdom for maxing out your life. I was 15, and one of the things that I loved about the program that my dad was in, they have this saying, and it says this, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Let me say it to you again. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I said, if I could go back to 20 years old again, now that I'm 53, I wish I would have understood that more. I wish I would have allowed God to give me peace about things I couldn't control. I tried to control too many things in my life that I couldn't control. I tried to control other people. I tried to control results. I tried to control relationships. I tried to control outcomes all of the time. And because I gave so much of my energy and my focus to things I can't control, how someone's going to react to me, whether someone likes me or not, I spent most of my life trying to control things I cannot control, and I should have given those things over to God. And I should have surrendered them. It would have given me more peace. I said, hey man, the reason I look so damn old at 53 years old is I have not lived with enough peace because I'm a control freak. Now, most successful people are control freaks. It's the thing that gets them to acquire stuff, money, houses, cars, big businesses, and it's the very thing that keeps them unhappy. Let me say it to you again. Most people that are control freaks are externally successful. They are. They're really good because they're just always on. And so that obsession with always being on contributes to their ability to be focused, deliver in the moment, always be ready. And they end up accumulating a lot of money or a success or a life that they never dreamed of. And when they're in that life, they don't enjoy it at all. And the reason they don't enjoy it at all is because they are constantly focusing, looking at things, thinking about things, giving energy to things they cannot control. So if I could go back, man, to being 20 years old, I would give myself the gift of not trying to control the things I couldn't. However, the same amount of courage to change the things I can, because I nailed that one in my life. I've always shown courage to change the things I can because I'm laser focused on those things and I don't dissipate my energy or my emotions on the things I can't. I arrived too many times to the things I could change, not with my A game, because I had depleted myself worrying, fretting, stressing, spending time on the things I couldn't. This may be one of the most important sentences of all life. And pray for the wisdom to know the difference when I see them. Now that at 53 years old, I'm pretty clear now at the things that I can control and I can't. And I told him I'd have been wealthier, more successful, had I been able to be more aware and focused and pinpointed on the things I could control and surrendered this idea that I can control everything in my life. I said it's brought me a lot of great success. I've changed a lot of other people's lives. I've brought abundance and peace and joy and contribution to lots of other people's lives at the expense of my own. At the expense of my own. And so if I could go back, I would change that. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I mean, accept them. Just accept them. And the courage to change the things I can. And some form of wisdom to know the difference. And I told him, I said, I just sort of pray about that wisdom. It becomes pretty obvious in life. You cannot control other people. You can't control how people feel about you. You can't even control outcomes. But I can control my own activity. I can't control my own attitude. I can't control my own fitness for the most part. I can't control my prayer. I can control those things. And when you laser in on the things you can control, I can control my own growth. I can control the things I'm responsible for. Life becomes much more simple and you become a high impact person. Why does that matter? I said to him, I said, the older I get, the more I firmly believe most things are energy in life. Not just how we feel, but the energy we put into something. Highest energy usually wins. Highest vibrational frequency attracts. Truth is the highest vibrational frequency. I've learned in my life that if I can put myself in a position where I am vibrating at the highest possible frequency, I'm the most effective in all the areas of my life, with my family, with my business, with my money, with my body, with my faith. I have to protect my peace and my focus so that I am my best, which means I'm vibrating at the highest possible frequency most of the time. What contributes to that? Hydration, fitness, clarity, focus, wisdom, that when I am involved in something, I'm fully present. I'm not focused on the thing I can't control. I can't control what's going on outside of the room I'm in. I can't control, to some extent, how I behave in the room I'm in. And so I actually believe more and more, and I'm going to write more and more about this, that each person's individual success is that they are at their own personal level, vibrating at their own personal highest vibrational frequency. And the way you do that is the quote above. That's how you do it. So I would protect my vibrational frequency and I would work on constantly feeding my own vibrational frequency so that I'm at my best at any given moment. You show me somebody who's a good golfer, and the difference between them and the person who wins major championships, it's that person who wins major championships controls the things they can, surrenders the things they can't, and when they have to come up with that big shot, they're at their high vibrational frequency and hit the best shot they have ever hit in their life in that moment. and the other person doesn't. You show me someone that wins a bunch of Super Bowls, I'll show you somebody that when it matters the most, they're vibrating at the highest possible frequency. They throw the best pass, make the best decision in the most important moment. And the person who's just good but not the best, they are not vibrating at their highest frequency because they became depleted in the battle leading up to that point, focus on things they can't control. So I'd protect my vibrational frequency, and I'd walk into every meeting, everything I do, every encounter with my children, trying to be at my highest possible frequency. Hey guys, I've been learning Spanish now for 3 years. I would tell you that I've gotten pretty darn good at it. And I can tell you the only reason, because I got a D in Spanish in high school and a C in college, is Babbel. Spelled B-A-B-B-E-L. I love Babbel. They're the best learning environment in the world to learn a second language, and you should do it, right? Challenge yourself to learn that language. And by the way, it's done easily. They have all these language experts that build these 10-minute lessons. So you're done really quickly, but you're growing, and it's role play in the sense that you're learning how to really pronounce the words. And in my case, it's like using it grammatically correctly as well. And I could not speak a word of Spanish before I started. It's the best place easily I've ever seen in my life. Here's a special holiday deal for our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/Mylett. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/Mylett. That's spelled BABBEL.com/Mylett. Rules and restrictions may apply. Visit babbel.com for terms and details. The next thing is this. I've learned in my life, you do not get your goals. You get your standards. And then if you set super high standards for yourself, you'll eventually long-term always get your standards. You do not get your goals. And so I see a lot of people goal obsessed, which I think is great. I have goals. I teach it. I'm about to teach it at a big event I'm doing December 12th at my house. If you want to check that out, go to maxout2025.com. Right now, go to maxout2025.com. If you're watching this before December 12th, 2024, you might have a chance to come to my home and spend a day with me. But I can tell you this, as much as that's important, you're going to get your standards long-term. Set high standards. Don't let other people set your standards, and don't compare your standards to other people. Set your own. That's what I would tell you. Set your own standards. The next thing is this, and I've said this many times, but I want to at least share this today because I gave the young man this advice, and I'm going to give it to you. You will never exceed your identity in your life. You will never get more in any area than you believe you deserve, or whatever I call your thermostat setting. Okay, the most powerful force I believe in the world is to be consistent with your identity. Your identity is the thoughts, beliefs, and concepts you hold to be the most true about yourself. So like in the studio right now, it's about 75 degrees. I frankly wish it was a little cooler, but it's about 75 degrees in here right now. And I can tell you that it's about 90 degrees outside here in Florida. But what's happening externally does not dictate the temperature of this room. What dictates the temperature of this room is the thermostat setting, because it turns the air conditioner on and cools it down and regulates it to what it's set at, just like our lives. It's not the external conditions of our lives that dictate our lives. It's our internal thermostat setting. Now, by the way, if it was 40 degrees outside and really, really cold, this thing would turn the heater on and heat it to 75 degrees. That's how life works. And so you have multiple thermostat settings in your life. And by the way, there's all kinds of people writing books and on the internet right now stealing my content on this, which is fine. But here's the thing. If you're 75 degree, or let's say financially, and that's what you believe you're worth, and all of a sudden you start to have a business that's growing at 80, 90, 100, you save some money, Eventually, at some point, you will subconsciously turn the air conditioners on of your life, young man, and cool your life back down to what you believe you deserve. It will seem coincidental. The stock market changed, interest rates changed, supply chain, blah, blah, blah. It's none of that stuff ever. It's the unconscious thermostat setting, cooling your life back down for you to get your identity. Same thing's true. If you ever go, oh my gosh, I'm not going to eat, we're going broke, I'm losing this, you find a way to turn the heater on and get it back to what you believe you deserve. Same thing in love. You ever meet that friend of yours who's like, oh, it's the best relationship, but they keep going through these different relationships, same person in a different body. You finally see them, but they've only got a 75-degree love thermostat. They're in love. They're making out at the dinner table. It's unbelievable. You see them in a year. What happened to Dave? What happened to Sarah? Oh, we broke up. It didn't work out. No, you turn the air conditioner on subconsciously, cooled your life back down to what you believe. You ever see somebody with 75-degree fitness in their life? And all of a sudden, man, they've lost weight. They lost 10 pounds. They're getting fit. They're at 85, 90, 100, 120 degrees. And then you run into them in a year, and they gained all the weight back, plus 5 pounds. What they do, they turn the air conditioner on in their life, got it back to what they believe they deserve. Why? Because we always get our thermostat setting. We always get it in our life. We always get our identity. So the key thing is to change your identity. How do you do that? Number one way you do it, I preach the trilogy of it. Faith, if you come from a God that has you in the palm of his hand, you ought to be winning because his DNA runs through you. Faith, focus on your intentions. And the third, associations. Get around people in that particular area who run at 150 degrees and they will heat you up somewhere between them and you. So if you're a 75 degreeer of money, all of a sudden your primary 5 or 8 people are 150 degrees worth of wealth and abundance and money making. Over time, you will be heated up to somewhere around 100 to 150 degrees. All of a sudden, your 5 best friends eat chicken and broccoli at lunch and rice and drink a bunch of water and train 5-6 days a week and take great walks. There's no way, if you're around them 3 years from now, that you've not heated yourself up somewhere around 100, 150 degrees. So it's associations. That's the next thing I would tell myself to max out my life. Give me another thing, man. I would always give myself a physical challenge. I believe almost everything starts with our temple, which is our body. You got to get yourself in shape. I got to be honest with you. I've been doing that most of my life. Not only would I want to get in shape and be fit, but I would want to be creating a challenge. It's always a challenge. Always be challenged. Get a physical challenge, whether you're doing CrossFit or you're going to do Ironman or you're going to do run or you're going to compete for what your bench press is or you're going to compete on your body fat. Something, giving yourself constantly a challenge. Don't just work out to work out. Create a challenge, even if it's personal, like, hey, I want to get more flexible and I'm going to be able to get my leg over this, or I'm going to curl this much, or leg press that much, or do this Ironman, or be able to do cardio at this level, whatever it is. I want this body fat, this weight. Always have a challenge in your life. And that's the next thing, not just a physical challenge. I believe a happy person is a challenged person, young man. And so always have a challenge, whether that's something in your life that you're constantly chasing. You can learn to be happy in the moment, don't get me wrong, but you should be in pursuit of something in your life. That's why God gave you more days. If all we were supposed to be was present, which is what you hear on social media all the time, and you should be, but if all you're supposed to be is present, then what's the point of having another day? That other day is to be challenged, to grow, to get better, to contribute, to feel better, to change other people's lives. So I want you to always have a physical challenge and always have an overall life challenge, which leads me to the next point of maxing out your life. You should be competing. You were born to compete. You were born to win. Always have something that you're challenged by and compete for it. Nothing wrong with keeping score. People that don't keep score in life don't know whether they're winning or losing and can't get recognition when they are. And I don't care. You say, I'm not a competitive person. Sure you are. Compete with yourself. Everybody's competitive. You were born to compete. I would always compete. And I said, the next thing is this. What makes a leader? It's a tough question, but one thing's for sure. A true leader leads by example, and a true leader takes risks too. They plunge into life with determination. For those who lead by example and who approach life with a palpable passion, there's the Range Rover Sport. Each Range Rover Sport model offers a dynamic, sophisticated take on sporting luxury. The Range Rover Sport offers focused on-road performance and world-renowned off-road capability with industry-leading features like adaptive off-road cruise control that monitors ground conditions and acclimates to the present terrain. Agility, control, and composure are achieved with dynamic air suspension, and adaptive dynamics reduces unwanted body movements to deliver smooth and composed handling. True sophistication and excellent maneuverability, all in a seriously stylish package. Sophisticated refinement meets visceral power in the Range Rover Sport, a new dimension of sporting luxury. Build your Range Rover Sport at LandRoverUSA.com. Learn to give. You show me somebody who's giving, I will show you somebody who's happy. Let me say it to you again. You show me somebody who's giving their time, their money, their love, their wisdom, their information. Maybe just give people your presence. Just sit with people in their moments. Giving people are happy people. I would go back at 20 years old and I would give more. The next thing, pursue your faith sooner. Begin to pursue your faith. What do you really believe? I think a lot of people think once I get the money thing handled, once I get this, then I'm really going to focus on my spirituality, my faith, my Christianity, whatever it might be. In my case, my Christianity. I would have focused on my faith sooner. The next thing is awareness. I would have become more aware of myself, more self-aware. I love self-aware people, aware of their strengths, aware of their weaknesses, aware of their idiosyncrasies, aware of their patterns, aware of their trauma, aware of their gifts, aware of their gifts. You show me somebody aware of their giftedness, aware of their faith, Just self-aware people are happy and successful and attractive people. Unself-aware people, you all know, are not people that you want to be around. So if we could go back up again, I'll just read to you some of the things that I thought were really, really important. Let's just go through them quickly. Number one, the absolute serenity to accept the things I can't change, the courage to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. Number two, protecting and growing my vibrational frequency. Number three, I'd be focused on my standards. Number four, I would do everything I can in the world to adjust my thermostat setting called my identity. Number five, the main way I would do that is I would seek out people in my life that are associations that are living. I would get around the right people. People are the catalyst that change other human beings' lives. Next thing is I would always have some sort of physical challenge and train as an athlete till the day I die. And then I would have a life challenge as well. Always be going for something that leads you to the next thing, which is to compete. Be a competitor, compete against other people, compete against your standard, compete against your benchmark, compete against history, or compete against yourself. The next thing is just decide in life you're going to be a giver. Giving people. So if you feel helpless, get helpful. You will no longer feel helpless. Be a giver. Give to other people. You will always be happy when you give, especially in the moment of the gift. I would focus on your faith sooner. And the last thing is I'd become more aware of the world, aware of myself, especially self-awareness. And I think that's contributing to your vibrational frequency as well. In addition to awareness, if I could go back to 20 years old again, I'd have laughed more. I wouldn't have taken myself so seriously. I got to be honest with you. When you begin to take yourself really seriously, your life gets very serious. So I would have more humor, more laughter. I mean, belly laughter. Get around people that make you laugh. You know, everyone says, hey, all your associations need to make you better. You better have that one person that just makes you laugh. Not everybody around you has to make you better. You got to have that one person or that group that makes you laugh. They don't take you seriously. You don't take yourself seriously. When things don't go well, you have the ability to make light of it, knowing it's a speed bump in the road of life. And humor is such a key thing in life. Now that I'd say when I got into my 40s, I just started laughing way more. I should have laughed way more when I was younger, not taking myself so seriously. I got to tell you, way more laughter, way more humor. Laugh at yourself, be self-deprecating, and do not judge other people. And here's the biggie. Outwork everyone. Just outwork everyone. I know everyone says, you got to work smarter, not harder. Yeah, whatever. At the top, everybody's smart. Outwork them. More reps, more hours, more grind. I'm just telling you, I know, this is if you want to be successful. I'm just telling you, I got one simple formula. You will not outwork me. I may not be the smartest, and I'm not. I may not be the strongest, and I'm not. But you will not outwork me. When you're sleeping and tucked in, I'm up, getting after it. I'm up before the sun gets up. I'm like a dripping faucet. I just keep going. Like clockwork, right? I really believe this. And I'm not, old man, this younger, I'm telling you that I don't see work ethic like I see in most successful people that I know. I think most people have no idea the level of focus, the level of determination, the level of hours and relentless obsession with winning that winning requires. And I think you can laugh. I don't think you got to judge people. I think you can be aware. But the bottom line is, who did the work? Who did the work? Outwork everybody. That eliminates all the risk. You outwork everybody. If it doesn't work out, you can look back and go, I gave it everything I had. You got a relationship and it's not going well, work at it. And so if it doesn't work out, you can look at your kids and go, Mommy, Daddy worked at it. I gave it everything. In my career, in business, with money, work at it. Outwork everybody. There is literally no substitute for it. I could tell you, I coach many of the top achievers in the world. I am one of them. And if that's not the case, they've been on my show. And there's a level of work ethic and focus the average person has no flippin' concept of. Trust me on that one. To this day, I outwork everybody around me by a mile. By a mile. And if you were to ask anybody who knows me, what's he really like? They will tell you one thing about that dude, he does not get outworked, and I cannot believe the pace of his schedule at his level of success or his level of age or his poor health or whatever it is. I'll outwork you. That's my next recommendation. And then this, trust and believe people. Trust people and believe people. There's two choices you got to make in life. You're going to mistrust everybody and not believe in people, or you're going to trust and believe in people. And I'm actually going to do another podcast on this, but I trust and believe in people, even though I know some percentage of the time they're going to let me down. Some percentage of the time they're going to hurt me. Some percentage of the time they're going to disappoint me. But I don't want to go through my life not trusting people and not believing in people. And the longer you go in life, the harder that is to do, because more and more people violate your trust. More and more people hurt you. More and more people let you down. And you have to protect that if you're going to be a happy, successful person, because the evidence is going to tell you don't trust people anymore. Don't believe in people anymore. The longer you go in life, the harder that is to maintain. But I would have made it a benchmark of my business and life philosophy is to still trust and believe in people. And then just here's a few keys that I've learned from mentors in my own life that I would share with myself at 20 years old and share with all of you today. Many of these I learned from one of my primary mentors, which is Wayne Dyer. Some of these are worded my way. I don't know if these are all mine, his, someone else's, but it's just wisdom. Here's the first thing. Abundance is not something we go get. Abundance is something we plug into. Abundant happiness, we plug into. We don't acquire it. Abundant wealth, we don't just acquire, we plug into it. We tune into it. It's a frequency. It's a vibrational frequency. Next, if you don't deal with your past trauma, it will keep showing up in your present. You got to deal with your past trauma, the past mistakes of your life, things you're ashamed of, things that happened to you, things that weren't fair. At some point, you got to make peace with it, or it'll keep showing up. If you make peace with your past, it won't show up in your present. If you don't make peace with your past, it will show up in your present. Okay? The next thing is this. Loving people live in a loving way. And hostile people live in a hostile way. It's the exact same world. You choose which version of it you're going to live in. I chose to live in a loving world, not an angry and hostile one. It's the exact same world. The next thing is this. This is from Wayne directly. You will see it when you believe it. You will see it when you believe it. When you believe something very strongly, you see it. If you believe that there's things stacked against you in your life, you will see the evidence of that everywhere. If you believe X, Y, or Z about faith or something like that, you will see it everywhere. If you believe something politically, you will see it. So you will see it when you believe it. The next one is this, way less judgment. Don't judge people so damn much. We keep judging human beings on the behavior we see. They're acting out of something. They're acting out of some trauma. They're acting out of something that's happened to them that I don't know about. And they may be just acting out of a lower vibrational frequency because of the circumstances of their life. But judgments prevent us from seeing the good that lies beyond appearances and behaviors of people. See past that in human beings. And then the last thing is this. Stress, worry, and conflict cannot survive without your participation. Stress and worry and conflict cannot survive without your participation in it. I've allowed stress and conflict and worry in my life to constantly survive because I participate in it. But when you just simply disconnect from it and you do not participate in stress, you do not participate in worry, you do not participate in conflict, it can't survive without you, and it won't survive. I could go back and be 20 years old again, some of the advice I would give myself, that I would give you today as well. And to remind you that you're only as young as you're ever going to be right now in this moment. Enjoy your life, max out your life, kick some butt in your life, help a bunch of people in your life, live with the emotions you want in your life so that when you get to the end of your life, you maxed it out and you're proud of you. God bless you, everybody. Max out.